name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome back to Page by Page, writing the book in real time. We are at episode 10.
Which means we are at chapter 9 of Sketchbook of our Wayward Seer.
But like episode 10, that feels like such a milestone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that we had like 70 episodes of A Book and a Dream, but I feel like this one is, I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun.
It is such a massive endeavor.
Well, it is a massive endeavor, and it's a huge difference. And actually, before we get into the reading today, and even before we talk about the beer of the week, I want to touch on something that you brought up. I think it was last night. You were like, editing for Sketchbook is so much different. It's so much harder. And explain that. Like, talk a little bit about that. Like, why is this so much different than the other 31 novels?
So when I'm normally writing, I have a big episode. A face is fun. I have a kind of a big attitude of fix it and post, which one of our friends who was a photographer used to say it all the time. Mm-hmm. So when I'm writing, I'm like, it's okay. I can't find the perfect word. I put in a note. I'll go back to it and edits. And then when I hit my first round of edits, I go through everything and I'm like, I don't know if I really like that sentence, but it's good enough for now. It's good enough for now. And then I go through my second round of edits and I hit that sentence again and I get another time to be like, wait, do I like it? Do I not? And I can hem and haw. And then I do a third round of edits and then I do that again. But because I really only have one round of edits because I wrote this we're recording Monday. So I finished writing it
2 days ago? 3 days ago?
Started writing it Friday. I finished writing it Saturday.
Okay.
I edited it all morning yesterday.
And then I did my edits.
Last night. And then we did a read aloud right before this.
Yes.
And that's it. That's all
that's all you get.
Editing that I get. So like when I'm writing...
Again, disclaimer, typos are fair game after this.
Yes, we're going to fix typos.
When you order the Kickstarter hardback edition, it will be even cleaner. Like, I believe that we're putting up a very, very clean product.
But yes, it will have had time to have more eyes on it.
Yes.
But the difference in the writing bit is, okay, so as I'm writing, I am much more concerned with like every single detail being perfect. Mm-hmm. And being absolutely included what needs to be because we are writing in real time, I can't loop back around at the end to add an Easter egg. I have to make sure they're planted at the exact right moment, which is really stressful.
Yeah, sure.
So it probably takes me about 3 times as long to write a chapter of this as it would something like Curse Mountain Thief even, which is really complicated because that has...
Six points of view.
It's a heist.
Yeah.
It's a heist story. So Curse Mountain Thief it's sort of like...
it's like
Ocean's 11 meets Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
So there are lots of jumping around between points of view there, and that one's really hard to write.
Think of like a modern urban fantasy take on, but it's like, I'll liken it to Lee Bardugo, like Six of Crows.
Yeah.
Just more contemporary, more urban fantasy.
Yeah. But so that one with the timelines, it's really hard to sort those chapters out. But this one, because of how precise my brain wants everything to be, I hem and haw over every paragraph for so long.
Yeah.
And then I get to editing, and instead of being like, I don't know if I love this sentence, put in a note, I'll look at it next time.
Yeah.
I have to sit there and stare at it long enough to know if I like it. So normally, like, this is like typed out in Microsoft Word. This section that we have today is 15 pages.
Yes.
Barely 15 pages, I
Barely
think.
15 pages.
And that took me 5 hours to 5 hours to edit.
Right. So an hour per 3 pages. Not quite, but yeah.
That's so long for me.
That's a lot.
So it's a very different process.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? I apologize. I actually should have brought this up first. We are safe from the Hurricane Helene. We in Orlando, we barely felt it. Our hearts do go out to those of you who might have felt it. Man, it was a beast.
Yeah.
From a Cat 1 to a Cat 4 in a day.
Yeah, and I mean, we were
talk about paranormal.
We were so fortunate. The biggest problem we had is that the wind was really freaking our cats out.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. We had gusts of around 50 miles an hour. Like it was a little bit of branches down, but no real damage. Just a couple of freaked out kitties. So we are very fortunate. And thank you to everyone who reached out to make sure that we were okay. Thank you so much. It is greatly appreciated. All right, now on to the beer of the week.
Yes, beer of the week.
All right, so this is,
Careful,
and I'm sorry.
going to make you make music
no,
for the very
because I
beginning.
already didn't make you music for the last time. Okay, but no, hold on. We don't get to cheers yet. I know. You're anxious. No. So this is from Elysian. I believe I'm saying that right. But it is their beer Night Owl, which is a very delightful little pumpkin beer. Now that we are solidly at the end of September and into fall, I feel no shame at all in having pumpkin beer. So cheers to pumpkins.
Cheers.
There should never be
any shame in liking pumpkin things, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody can have their thing.
Yeah, that's true. And I speaking of, I am vanilla and enjoy my pumpkin spice cold brew very much. Thank you. Now, okay. So
are you trying to be hip with the youth lingo?
I'm being hip with the vanilla. Vanilla is like 6 or 7 years ago at least, and I'm probably underestimating. Okay, so
those youths can already rent cars without extra fees.
Yeah. Oh man, they can. Oh, we're so old. So I wanted to touch before we get into this. You're going to hear a new Watcher theme because, spoiler alert, this has a Watcher scene in it. So I get to finally premiere the new theme, and we listened to both of them, and we're going to play each of them for you now. All right, so this was the old Watcher theme. I enjoyed that one. I did, but it definitely did not have the right feel. And what was it about it to you that you were like,
well,
like it's kind of a little
like
sci-fi-ish.
To me, it's more like the horror movie vibe. So it kind of feels, or like,
I feel like it's Goosebumps
the
over
Luigi's
horror
Mansion.
movie.
Like it feels like there's gonna be.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Nintendo, when you go to make Luigi's Mansion 4, contact me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'm not there yet.
Well, no, I'm sure that they've already gotten the music for it because they started it 10 years ago.
That's
it's going to come out in another
true.
10 years.
Yeah, I know.
Music is wonderful.
Video games take
But anyway,
forever.
no, for me, it made the Watcher read more as someone who's like jump scare knife wielding, and that's not really the vibe or the character that I wanted to go with it.
Sure.
And since we do have character music, almost like since Ella, we do have someone who's doing Ella's sketches, it was so hard to make sure we found the right artist. With this, since the character is having theme music, I feel like we have to be really careful to make sure it's the right theme music.
Yeah, and you'll notice that I'm pretty sure I'm not lying about this without having listened to it within the past couple of days, but the Laurel theme, or Ella's theme, as it were, that I play at the beginning of each chapter reading, has a glockenspiel in it, and the new Watcher theme does too. So yeah, actually, let's listen to that now. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, you were right. As you usually are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me a second to premiere that. Okay. So, speaking of music, is it time for the last time on?
Yes, previously on.
Previously on.
And I am going to have real music for this. But
not today. But
no, because you only wanted to premiere one piece, and I understand you're an artist.
All right, I'm going to let it take over. Okay.
All right, previously on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer.
Cue music.
Ella actually gets to do her first welcome activity after the school caught fire and they ran away. Jason brings her to Laureldale's cafe, the Argo. It is his family's establishment. He brings her in. She sees an unfortunate vision of some kind of hanky-panky
Copulation.
Unfortunate copulation.
Yes.
Awkward copulation.
Awkward, very awkward copulation.
And then the welcome crew arrives. So we have Violet, we have Sydney, we have Andre,
Tessa.
we have Tessa, we have Jason, we have Paige. And there is tension between Jason and Violet as we get to know the characters a little bit more. And the segment ends with Violet grabbing Ella, telling everyone that she's driving Ella home and giving Jason Archer a solid fuck off on her way out.
Yeah. Thank you for dropping our first F-bomb. I feel like there should be applause. No, I think I've gotten applause sound effects somewhere, or I might have lost it when my computer.
We don't want to go too sound effects.
Yeah, that's all right.
We need
You're
to
right.
balance.
You're right.
We need to
You're
balance.
right. We do. Okay. All right. So then, is it time? Is it time to jump into the chapter?
Is there anything else that they need to know for this one?
I don't think.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Something that, sorry, I need to backtrack a little bit. Something that if you have not, if you took a little pause between listening to episodes, FYI, Violet is in fact one of the local werewolves. She is also a member of the Welcome Week committee, which is a little bit out of character for her.
I don't know why that made me laugh. One of the local werewolves to your right. It just sounded very tour guiding.
Well, I realized that this could get real confusing.
Oh, that's true.
If it had been like 2 weeks and you were like, wait,
yes.
what? But
So,
yes, Violet is in fact
if you
a
were
werewolf.
just now joining us, this is a paranormal book and in which there are vampires, though I don't know that we're going to see any even in this novel, are we? They're not a part of the Aetherion community, period.
Yes, they are.
Oh, they are Aetherions?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I need to go back and listen to the first few episodes. Okay, so, but we have not met any werewolves yet. Or vampires. Wow. We have not met any vampires yet. Stop judging me. But we have met werewolves. We've met a fae. She has come across a banshee. Mm-hmm. And we have met a witch. Is there anything that I'm missing out on other than Ella being a seer, of course?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, cool. So, yeah. So there we go. Werewolves and seers and witches. Oh, my.
Sorry. Apologies for the extended previously on. But
I'm
the
sorry.
werewolf thing felt important. It felt
It's okay. It is important. Okay. All right. So are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Cue music.
Well, no, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Music comes after I say this. Sketchbook of a weird... I'm not actually starting over, but I'm trying to, all right. Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer by Megan O. Russell. Chapter 9. Now music goes. Pain zinged from my wrist to my shoulder as Violet lengthened her stride beyond what my mere seer legs could match, dragging me behind her like a kill she wanted to show off to her pack. So sorry, a server carrying a plate of sparkly pink cake dodged out of our path, her wince of apology becoming a wide-eyed stare of panic as she caught sight of the anger on Violet's face. No worries, I spoke through clenched teeth, giving the server the best smile I could muster as Violet tossed open the front door of the Argo. Violet, stop, I whispered. She yanked me across the porch, past the, thanks to the resonant bang the door gave as it smacked into the wall, now staring coffee drinkers on the porch. I dug my heels in, trying to stop our momentum, only gaining an extra throb of pain in my shoulder as, not seeming to care if I fell on my face, Violet hauled me down the steps and turned the opposite way I'd arrived at the cafe with Jason that morning when I'd foolishly thought the drama for the day had peaked. Would please help? Please stop? I asked. Nothing. I glanced back, catching sight of Jason running out onto the porch, staring after us with a furrowed brow. I shook my head at him, relieving the poor human who'd somehow pissed off the werewolf of the obligation of saving me from said deadly beast. I waited until we'd turned the corner and were out of sight of the porch to speak again. Let go, now. Still nothing. Am I actually going to have to remind you how dumb it is to hurt a Sybil? I kept my voice low. Whoops, actor note, bad actor. Am I actually going to have to remind you how dumb it is to hurt a Sybil? I kept my voice low, but my diction crisp enough the wolf couldn't pretend not to understand every damn word. Or would you rather I skip right to the fact that I'm Kate fucking Blackwood's ward? She gave an extra hard jerk on my arm. My toe caught the dip between two slabs of the sidewalk. I tripped a few steps forward, barely keeping on my feet. Fine then, I said. Pissing off a witch it is. By taking me in, Kate assumed responsibility for my safety. If you need it in simpler terms, you hurt me, Kate fucking kills you. Do you really want a Blackwood witch hunting you down? Violet stopped at the entrance to an alley. Actually, the opposite end of the alley where Jason had parked his car. I hadn't realized the Argo took up the whole front of the block. She rounded on me, a mix of determination, loathing, and fear in her eyes that sparked a shiver of genuine dread on the back of my neck. The girl facing me at the end of that alley wasn't a high schooler with a vendetta, or a werewolf on a spree. She was a trapped, desperate animal, and somehow I was the thing blocking her path. The exact kind of wolf you don't live to tell fun stories about fighting. Awesome. Killed in broad daylight on the sidewalk of a pretty little town by a werewolf with a damn pixie cut had never made the list of ways I thought I'd go. It wouldn't be the worst. Violet gave my arm another jerk, yanking me toward her, placing me within easy throat-ripping range. Sorry, that's a great way to show distance. Catherine Blackwood is a soft-hearted wreck who would never have it in her to kill anyone, let alone a wolf who's grown up on her mountain. Hurt me and see if you're right? I smiled. I held her glare, a probably unhealthy kind of joy cracking away chunks of the tiny supply of caring or reason or self-preservation instinct or whatever the hell you want to call it I had left. Either you get in my car so we can have a pleasant chat while I drive you home, she said, or I have to go with the plan that's a hell of a lot worse for both of us. Did I just say words? Either you get in my car so we Either you get in my car so we can have a pleasant chat while I drive you home, she said, or I have to go with the plan that's a hell of a lot worse for both of us. I just kept staring. Violet pulled a set of keys from her pocket, pressing a button to make the lights on the black Jeep behind her flash. Get in the car. I leaned in close, whispering in her ear. Fuck off. I got to lean close to the microphone to say that.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you very much. My career has peaked. Her hold on my wrist loosened.
At least you didn't peak the mic. I'm so sorry. Continue.
Actually, I might have. I was trying to be quiet. I'm sorry. Her hold on my wrist loosened for a split second. I wrenched my arm back in a stupid attempt to break free. She caught me by the hand, snapping my pinky so fast I heard myself scream before I understood why. Watching panic flare in Violet's eyes was worth the pain. Shit. She turned toward the Jeep, yanking the door open, using her grip on my now throbbing hand to launch me toward captivity. My shins banged into the bottom edge of the doorframe, adding an extra squeak to the angry growl of my suppressed scream. A quick shove on my ass later, I fell headfirst onto the floor of the Jeep, smacking my shoulder against the gear stick as I tried to avoid a concussion while not putting any weight on my now fucking crooked pinky. The door banged into my heel as it slammed shut behind me. Before I could twist enough to reach for the door handle, Violet had slid into the passenger seat and rammed the keys into the ignition. Didn't she slide into the driver's seat?
Oh no, who's driving the car?
I don't know. And where is
car.
Ella? Self-driving? Look, they're a thing. Are they a thing in Laureldale? There's probably a few. There's probably some jackass with a Cybertruck in there. Sorry, I said it. If you drive a Cybertruck, I don't take it back. I'm just throwing that out there right now.
Christopher!
What? They're ridiculous. Okay.
I liked the one we saw with polka dots. So we actually
there was a really cute one. That's true. It's the first cute Cybertruck I've ever seen. Like, cute and Cybertruck do not belong together.
Okay, sorry, go back.
All right, great. Before I could twist, yes, because she's in the driver's seat. Before I could twist enough to reach for the door handle, Violet had slid into the driver's seat and rammed the keys into the ignition. I went for your left hand because I was trying to be nice. She rammed her foot on the gas, swinging the Jeep backward onto the street, earning a blaring horn from a car behind her. Pull any stupid shit, and I'll smash your right hand. Got it? A dinging filled the Jeep. I scrambled up to sitting in time to watch Jason standing on the street corner, waving at the Jeep, trying to stop us. Violet sped up. Put your seatbelt on. What? My crooked-ass pinky had already started to swell. Shit. I'd have to set it. I hated setting my own bones. Violet banged her fist against the steering wheel. The dinging won't stop unless you put on your damn seatbelt. Is that all it takes to vanquish your sad werewolf ass? A dinging bell? I forced out a laugh. Is this the first time you've kidnapped anyone? Shut up. I swear Violet's skin vibrated as she paused at a stop sign. I'll give you points for knowing which is my dominant hand, I said. But your getaway game needs some real improvement. Are you shitting me? There it was, at the bottom end of Violet's voice, that resonant growl of a wolf barely keeping the beast in check. If you're actually trying to kidnap and threaten me, then no, I am not shitting you. If this is your weird way of making friends, you've... Look, Sybil. The growl stole the human pitch from her voice. I laughed, not another sarcastic laugh. My best attempt at a genuine, belly-jiggling, eye-watering laugh. Violet swung her elbow back, catching me in the shoulder. A radiating burst of pain numbed my left arm, sending spots dancing through my vision and whisking away the throbbing in my pinky all at once. I don't care who's protecting you. I don't care whose ward you are. She fucking flicked on her turn signal, steering us toward the first of the 3 bridges it took to reach Kate's by car. The dull clicking of the blinker added a blissful layer of absurdity to the wolf's audacity. I need help, and you're going to give it, or I'll destroy you. Destroy me? I wiped the laughter-born tears from my eyes. You're a little late for that. You're going to find someone for me. The fuck I am. She swung for me again, this time with her fist, breaking my nose with one efficient blow. Pain exploded across my face. Motherfucker! I coughed out the words as I hunched forward, already tasting blood. Here's the deal, Violet said. Do what I say, and I'll be your new best friend. An aitherion to have your back at school, a guide to all things supernatural in Lauraldale. I spat blood onto the faded carpet at my feet. Fuck it up, and I'll get you burned out of town. The rumble beneath the tires changed as we crossed onto the bridge, the hollow sound like an ironic echo of Violet's threat. The annoyance of pain and blood crushed my humor into tiny shards of fuck you, asshole. Do I need to explain what happens to aitherions who hurt Sibyls? I swiped the blood away from my mouth with the back of my hand. They don't just get kicked out of their lives like they're fleeing the witch trials. They don't just have to start over someplace new, because getting burned out of town is a lame-ass threat to anyone but a sweet little werewolf who's either too dumb, naive, or caught up in a death wish to have thought through the reapers that are going to show up at their fuck reapers. I gagged on the blood dripping down my throat as I laughed. Fuck reapers? I'm not afraid of the boogeyman. So you are stupid. I savored the gross sense of satisfaction as I spat more blood onto the carpet. Something bigger than anger or pride flashed through Violet's eyes, brightening their blue. I knew that look. I'd grown up seeing it, even if I'd never really understand how it felt. It's that moment when the wolf flares through the human mind of a shifter, and that animal's pure, uncomplicated drive to fight and taste blood and kill and feed smothers reason and fear until the only thing left is a warrior, so confident in their own victory they forget how terrified they should be. Because reapers aren't a myth made up to keep aitherions in line. Reapers are real. And when they come for you, there's no point in fighting back. Your friends, your family, anyone who might have been tainted by your offense, they'll die with you as the reapers cleanse all trace of your transgression. That's how I know it wasn't reapers that came for my family. I'm still alive. We hit the red light on the road that looped toward the swath of hotels and bigger restaurants on the far side of the Widow's Run River, beyond whatever building codes maintained downtown's quaint glory. If burning you out of town isn't a big enough threat, fine, Violet said as the light changed. I'm happy to do more damage. If you keep breaking bones, we're going to lose the option of pretending this never happened. I won't just get you burned out of Lauraldale. I'll burn you out of your whole life. Did you spend any time on research before kidnapping me? Have you ever considered what a really good PI could do to a Sibyl? How many times have you ended up in the newspaper for springing to the rescue? I bet there's some decent video out there too. Shit. I'd gotten cocky, given the nose-breaking wolf too much time to think. I wonder what would happen if I put together a nice file on the psychic savior and sent it to... Well, I'll have to decide if I want to go the social media route or the mainstream media route. You wouldn't dare. Oh, believe me, I would. We reached the second bridge on the way to Kate's, crossing back over the Widow's Run River. If I threw myself out of the car and jumped into the river, I might be able to escape Violet. Granted, the water was rough as hell, and I'd be gambling that she wasn't a great swimmer. You're not that desperate. Yet. Violet, outing me risks every aitherion. That includes you, your family, and your pack. Though I guess that won't matter since the Reapers will kill everyone you... I don't give a fuck! She punctuated her words with slams on her already dented steering wheel. I will make sure your picture spreads to every corner of the human world. How long would it take a Sibyl to heal from the kind of plastic surgery you'll need to have a face people won't recognize? My face. If she spread my picture, if humans took interest, I would have to change my face. I already couldn't use my name. I'd already lost my family. If I couldn't recognize myself in the mirror, there would be nothing of me left. Fear tightened around my neck, making it harder to talk through the blood still dripping down my throat. Whatever you think I can do for you, it's not worth... She cut me off with another elbow to my shoulder. The trees growing on either side of us thickened as we neared Willow Creek. keeping the road in shadows that gave off a heavy feeling of this being The trees growing on either side of us thickened as we neared Willow Creek, keeping the road in shadows that gave off a heavy feeling of this being a path the wise didn't follow. The forbidden vibe deepened as we drove over the last bridge and crossed onto Kate's land. My guardian's land. You're not totally alone in this world, Ella. I need to find someone. Violet turned onto the even narrower, more oppressively tree-shadowed drive to Kate's house. You're helping me. Do you know what happens when you try to give a wolf orders? You're not a wolf, Sybil. The beast flared in Violet's eyes again, like she needed to prove the animal inside her held the kind of power my mere Sybil form was too flimsy to possess. I was born into the Gale Pack. I'm sworn to the Gale Pack. I leaned forward, peeling my shirt up over my head, using the already stained fabric to wipe the blood from my face. Maybe you're not smart enough to be afraid of Reapers, and maybe Kate is too soft to kill you. But I guess the real question is if your pack is ready to start a war with mine. Violet's jaw tensed with a twitch almost too small for me to catch. Checkmate. I guess that's a no. I spit one more round of blood onto the Jeep's carpet for good measure as Violet stopped just outside the stone wall that surrounded the heart of the Blackwood estate. Thanks for the ride. I look forward to bonding with you for the rest of my welcome week. I reached for the door handle. Before I could close my fingers around it, pain shocked through the back of my head as Violet grabbed my bun, yanking back. I'm meeting with my PI Sunday. At least she didn't do the creepy thing where people talk too close to your ear as she tightened her hold on my hair, trapping me in the Jeep. I'll give you until Saturday to decide if you want to be my new bestie as you make your... Man, so close. I was doing so well.
You got this, baby.
Thank you. I'll give you until Saturday to decide if you want to be my new bestie as you make Lauraldale your home, or if I should pay my PI extra to dig up all the unnatural drama that got your family burned out of town after town after town. She let go of my hair. I dove for the handle, flinging the door open and launching myself out of Violet's reach. If your PI is good enough to find shit on me, why the hell don't you have them find whoever you're looking for? I gave her half a heartbeat to respond. Oh, are they a shitty PI? Not good enough to find whoever you're looking for, so you're sending shit PI after me? That's your brilliant plan? Try harder, sweetheart. You have until Saturday. I turned away, leaving the Jeep door open, making her lean across to close it herself as I draped my shirt over my left shoulder, adding a flutter of movement to draw her eye to the mark just below my right shoulder blade. 4 matching claw-like figures closing together, sheltering the single shape in the center. Even if Violet didn't recognize the specific crest of the Gale Pack, she'd sure as hell know man, did I do Gale? Gale, right. Was that right?
Close enough.
Gale. Okay, sorry.
I know, it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
It is. And
let's talk about it out.
Okay. Even that was me rewinding. Kids, rewinding was something that, never mind. Even if Violet didn't...
The youths. Okay, continue.
Okay, thank you. Even if Violet didn't recognize the specific crest of the Gale Pack, she'd sure as hell know it meant that, shifter or not, I was born into a fucking pack that has a reputation for quick vengeance, and even knowing what I am, they'd marked me as one of their own. I am protected. I am not alone. I am still Gale. I will always be Gale. Kate kept the iron gate at the end of the long drive open, allowing an unbroken stride away from Violet as I passed the stone wall. I let myself savor what I hoped I looked like from behind, confident, strong, unafraid. Stones cracked beneath tires. As the rumble of the Jeep faded, my body sank out of its panic-induced adrenaline state, freeing my brain to feel the pain throbbing through my shoulder, pinky, and face. From the way my nose had managed to spread pounding all the way to the back of my head, washing the blood away wasn't going to be enough to keep Kate from spotting the damage. But the school had been on fire, and maybe she'd believe I'd fallen and busted my face fleeing from the flames. It could explain the pinky, too. Or maybe a fist fight over some hot guy would be better, or a fall walking to school. I spun my way through different lie options, letting them drift toward the absurd, pretending the prickling of the goosebumps growing on my now bare arms was as important a sensation as the pain. What if I'd been invited to play baseball in the park and had taken a ball to the face? As though I'd finished burrowing a tunnel to safety, exhaustion joined pain, sinking weight into my limbs as I reached the end of the drive. The Blackwood house didn't have any turrets, closed shutters, widow's walks, or anything humans associate with witches, and the fresh paint and well-tended gardens screamed of the kind of home that begged to be admired, rather than the kind in which one might drop blood onto the floor after getting pwned by a werewolf. Maybe I could blame showing up bloody and in my bra on one of the visions that had plowed through my brain since I'd left for school that morning. I could say I'd been trying to stop something in Jason's door-slamming vision, the one that had already happened, not the one with the shouting girl and shadow-chased wings. But the wings hadn't been as weird as the Noah thing, and the dead girl on the floor ranked highest on the seer priority of doom scale. My legs ached as I climbed the porch steps, begging me to give in and collapse on the love seat beside the front door rather than venture inside to face whatever help and comfort Kate had prepared. Don't be a coward, Ella. I opened the door, a lie about taking an elbow to the face as we fled the school fire already balanced on my lips, but Kate wasn't sitting on the staircase just inside, waiting to pounce like she'd been the day before. A bright blue note had been taped to the newel post instead. Looking for company, an ear, or advice? Come to the living room. I have snacks and streaming services. Want to be alone to decompress? There's ice cream, chips, peaches, frozen pizza, and more in the kitchen. Please eat something, even if it's only chocolate, both in freezer and in cupboard. Want me to come to you? Bang on the wall. It's an old house. I'll be able to hear you. Whatever you need, I'm here. I'm literally choking up right now. I'm such a softie. Whatever. It's sweet, okay? Leave me alone. Whatever you need, I'm here. Kate. I'm going to drink after that. It's just so nice, and we're going to talk about the niceness of that later. I reached for the note. This need to save the stupid piece of paper, like it had some meaning I needed to study later, distracting me from bolting for the safety of my room. It does have a meaning. It means she cares for you. Okay. Then I caught sight of my hand. It's fine.
You're okay.
It's just so sweet. Then I caught sight of my hand, and seeing the red on my fingers reminded my brain of... No. Then I caught sight of my hand, and seeing the red on my fingers reminded my brain how sticky blood really is. I abandoned the note, managing to keep my pace calm as I headed toward the back of the house. Kate had given me the room behind the kitchen that stuck out from the rest of the building like a little architectural afterthought. Ignoring the spread of cookies on the kitchen table, I crept into the bedroom and eased the door shut behind me. The vice around my lungs loosened as I turned the lock, even though locks were useless with Kate around. And then I just stood there, staring at the room like I'd find another blue note with instructions on where to hide bloody clothes. Wash your face. Step 1 is wash your face. Blood off my face, blood out of my clothes, blood out of the etching on my pendant. Set pinky, brace pinky, ice nose, force down protein bar, brush teeth. I ran out of simple tasks, leaving me with worrying about Violet or working on Sybil shit as my options. The corpse held more appeal. I grabbed the sketchbook from beside the bed and settled in at the desk Kate had placed to look out over the back gardens, outbuildings, and forest beyond. You know, the kind of scenery you're supposed to imagine as a safe, calm anchor while you fight to remember the details of a murder scene that had only blasted into your mind for a moment. I let out a slow breath. There had been a crack in the concrete running beneath the dead girl's torso. An odd detail, but enough to start with. I picked up my pencil and began the jagged shape. The werewolf jerks on the Sibyl's arm, and the Sibyl stumbles into view. When they stop moving, I lose them from the shoulders down behind the other cars parked in the alley. Anger fills both their faces, but the video doesn't catch their voices until the Sibyl screams. I scroll the video back, watching the moment before the scream again. It's not fear on her face. No, it's something closer to a burst of pain. I scroll the video back again and again, searching for anything of value. Nothing. I'd known the footage from the alley would probably be useless with only my poor bet on... Oh, sorry. I'd known the footage from the alley would probably be useless with only my poor bet on camera placement to blame. That's why I'd studied it first. A thrum fluttered through my chest as I swiped away from the alley, moving on to the video I'd saved to erase any faint worries of failure. The Sybil sat at her desk, ice pack pressed to her nose, pencil in hand, her gaze fixed on the papers in front of her. The lights in her bedroom cast the scene in a perfect glow. Framed against the cloudy night, each time she set her ice pack aside, I could even see the darkening bruises around her eyes. I opened my laptop, pulled up her file, and selected New Entry. And that is the end of chapter 9. And can I just tell you that that was the first... Okay, so I've read this now 3 times, I think. This is my 3rd time reading it. And yes, because once for edits, once for read aloud, and once for this. I didn't even think about the fact that the watcher can see the darkening bruises around her eyes, like how close that means they put the camera. That is so messed up, and I hate everything about it, but I love it. I told her, I said, I hate the way you ended this chapter. I love it, but I hate it. I hate it so much. The watcher creeps me out.
That detail is specifically there because they are
it's
close
so
enough.
Gross. I hate it. Okay.
And I mean, granted, they're going to be big old black eyes.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's not subtle. It's not like they're watching a zit on her nose grow.
Well, no.
But it's like, yeah, it's like the watcher can see the black eyes.
It's so upsetting. Like, I mean, to have that kind of, that's an invasion of privacy, like not of the highest degree, but it's up there.
Yeah.
Man. And even if I'm assuming that the watcher is probably a teenager, just if for no other reason than the fact that this is a YA book. So I'm just assuming that that's what's going on. And it's still creepy. It doesn't make it any less creepy. I hate it.
I mean, anyone recording you without your knowledge is always going to be creepy.
I don't like it. No, wait.
And now do you understand why I needed different music?
Yeah, no, I get
because
it.
Because it's not stabby.
No, it's not.
The stabby isn't
it's creepy.
the problem.
It's creepy. And I'm really glad that I chose to draw some similarities between the two themes. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I feel like it's more cohesive.
Well, I also feel like the two kind of balance each other. Mm-hmm. At least that's what I was hoping for.
Oh, yeah.
With the 2 points of view.
I see. I was like, that's what you were hoping for with your composing of the music?
No, it's because Ella is trying so hard to create this normal life that can be fully visible.
Right.
And here's this person who's trying to pull out the invisible at every second. So it's that she's like climbing up a mountain.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And there is someone actively pulling the sand out from under her. And so I want it to be that kind of...
That's very interesting.
Symmetry of like, she gets up, it comes back. Like it's that pull down back into, okay, this is going to get worse.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like that we should address the elephant in the room, which is apparently my ridiculous softness at Kate's behavior. I want to talk about that a little bit because like that is just so ludicrously thoughtful to me. Like the fact that it's like, hey, here are your 3 options, hun. Tell me what you need. You know, do whatever you need. It's okay. It's almost like Kate did her own little welcome week path. It's like, here are your 3 envelopes.
No, it's more like Kate freaked out when she left her car and walked to school and spent the entire day on the internet being like, how to deal with traumatized teens. And was like, okay, well, I tried hovering and that didn't work. So like, what do I do?
Oh, man.
Like Kate's doing her research on Parenting 101 as she goes. She's never had kids. She doesn't know anything about this.
Right.
So it is sweet because she put together the time, not because she was like, oh, I know she might need all these things. But she was like, oh, shit, this kid is in trouble. What the hell do I do?
But
okay, here are my options to arrange for her to let her figure it out. So it is sweet, but it's not that like she's just intrinsically this lovely person who knows what to do.
Okay.
It's like she's this woman who like put some whiskey in her coffee and was like, I guess this is what I'm doing today. Research on teen psychology.
Is Kate also Irish?
No.
Okay. Because I think if we haven't talked about it yet, I think we can talk about it now with the fact that her pack is Gale. I believe it's Gale. So it's like Gay and then a schwa and an L. So a schwa is just like it's an empty vowel. It's what it is. It's
You're
what
such a nerd.
I'm a huge nerd. Yeah,
you are.
I am.
It's okay. I love you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad. I love you too. So is Kate also Irish?
No.
Okay, so she's not.
No.
Just a friend of the families or a friend of the packs.
I don't want to get too deep into it right now. But the basics of it is that she is not linked to the pack. Mm-hmm. She is one of Ella's mom's old friends.
Okay.
Who, when your old friend has a kid who sees the future, has gotten wrapped up in trying to help Ella over the years because she is a witch.
Oh, Kate has. Oh.
Yeah.
So she's like tried to help Ella with these visions?
Well, it's because you have this kid who's seeing into the future.
Right.
Okay, well, then they get their nose broken because of this. Oh, well, now this is, so Kate has been like their sort of witchery resource.
Okay.
Of like, if something with magic needs to be done for Ella, mm-hmm. they're gonna take her to Kate because that's mom's old friend who they know, who they can trust with Ella, who they can trust to not like expose Ella to all kinds of weird things or to try and use her Sibylness for their own good.
Yeah.
So she's just a really, really trusted family friend who they've turned to in the past.
Okay.
So that's kind of why Kate ended up with her, because Kate has helped the family deal with this Sybil shit before.
This Sybil shit, which, I mean, that's what she calls it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So thank you for that. I want to ask you something. So in the tethering, you have the mansion house, mm-hmm. right? When
I'm like leaning
there is
right now.
there is something that I can't talk about that. There's something that happens in the Fracture Pact series too that makes me ask this question. What is it with you and big houses? Is it because of where you grew up? The fact that you grew up in this really big inn? Is it? Oh, I had another question about that. Is it Is it in any way influenced by a book that you tried to get me to read forever, which I probably never will, and I'm sorry, but I Capture the Castle?
Oh, not at all. I Capture the Castle takes place in like a rundown, like
no, but still,
place.
It's not about the shape of it, like, because the mansion house is nice. I have a feeling that the Blackwood estate is probably a little bit more posh than the mansion house was. But what was I going to say? Where does the big house thing come from? Because you have a thing with putting your characters into these giant buildings. I mean, look at the domes, for Pete's sake. That's just a giant building.
I think to me, okay, maybe this is because if you were listening to the podcast and have not been on my social media before, I grew up in an inn where my mother ran.
This is like a 20-something room Victorian?
I don't know. The thing was massive.
It was huge.
It was a massive house. There were costume Victorian tea programs.
And terrifying to sleep in, by the way.
I lied to him about ghost stories. It was great.
We'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah. But
Brittany, I'm having you hold us to that. Remind us that she's going to tell you that story of how she tortured me when we were first dating.
But I think it's because I had that space to spread out. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, we also, because of an acting gig, lived in Mrs. Astor's Newport mansion.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun.
It was great. But so I'm used to these spaces where, like, I have all these niches and possibilities.
Yeah.
So for me, like, okay, I am willing to... This has not been written into the book yet, but I don't think it's a spoiler.
Okay, are you sure?
So, yes.
Okay.
So the reason Kate's house needed to be big mm-hmm. is for teenage practicality reasons. Like, we need the windows to be accessible. Yeah. You got to be able to get in and out. It makes sense that Kate would want to give her space. Yes,
I love that. That's one of my favorite things so far that you've mentioned about the house is the fact that she gave her this little, like, not in-law apartment, but that kind of, like...
But vibe. That it's not a purely altruistic reason.
Okay.
So, in... witchery in this world because Aetherions do coexist.
Right.
So Kate coexists with humans. Humans come to her house. Oh. So everything on the first floor is magic free.
Oh, except for Ella.
But Ella doesn't have anything magical in her room.
Well, except for her drawings.
Yeah, but she has no artifact. She has no talisman. She has nothing in her room. There is no magic.
I'm unconvinced that pendant isn't magical somehow, but no, it's fine.
Then we get...
Not that she can tap into it because she's not a witch.
Then we get to the second floor and maybe there's some magical going on.
Okay.
Then we get to the attic, and that's where the witch shit is. And so, like, yes, it's kind of, yes, let's give her space and put her back there. And it's kind of convenient for me to have her where sneaking in and out and, you know, filming through windows and all that's going to be easier.
Yeah.
But it's also a matter of, like, you have this girl who was so close to the edge of breaking down.
Okay.
So you put her on the first floor where there is nothing in her room.
Okay.
She can't go after a spell book. She can't go after a talisman.
Right.
Like, there is nothing on the, like, basically she childproofed it. She put her on the childproof floor.
Okay. Did she do anything to that room to, like, keep...
No, it's just a room.
Oh, no, because if she had, maybe the watcher couldn't have seen it.
Potentially. But
Kate.
it's like, it is just
Kate, if you were listening to this, please watch her proof.
It's just like the most normal teenage separate. You can't have any magic in your room. You're not going to get into any of my magic stuff because the second and third floor are not teenager proof. Like, it is that separating her from magic as well.
I just had another question I really want to ask, but I can't because we do not have time.
Okay, well, no, maybe it's quick.
No, it's...
I just want to hear the question.
All right. Can non-witches... Are men in this world witches as well, or are they wizards?
Yes.
They are. They're witches.
There
so
can
it's all
even
witch,
be...
like warlocks and stuff?
There can even be a few male-born sibyls. Nothing is...
Okay.
It is all a spectrum. So there
Sorry,
can be
what I mean is that do you
call
call the male identifying witches as well?
Yes.
Okay. So it's
Yes.
witch across the board. Which is funny if you consider a conversation that happens in the tethering, but I'm getting off topic.
Yeah.
But can non-witches use magic? And what I mean by that is that could they harness the power of an artifact to do spells, stuff like that?
If it is an artifact that is created for that purpose.
It has to be created for that purpose.
Like, if it is an artifact that is imbued with magic for later use.
Okay, then somebody can harness that. You don't have to be a witch to harness that power.
No, because it was imbued for later use.
So what you're saying is Ella's pendant is magical. Okay, thank you. So moving on to my next question. Do you like how I just put words in your mouth? So I'm kidding. Did you want to say anything else about that? Okay. No, I was just moving on for comedic purposes. Okay. Oh gosh, what's most important? I think this one will be quick. Ella resetting her bones. You brought this up. You like how Ella talks about resetting her bones. I get the fact that she hates doing it. So that means that she's done it before. Why? Is it because of the people she grew up around? Is it just a hazard of being aitherion? A hazard of being Gale?
It's multi-layered. She gets herself into trouble because she has visions and is trying to help people.
Yeah.
So, like, she's going to have a higher injury rate than a normal kid.
Right.
She has, like, been through some things because she is a sibyl and she grew up with a werewolf pack. So she's, like, been in bad situations before because of the paranormalness. But also because she is a sibyl in a family of wolves. Now, I'm gonna call out a small child in our life for a second, not by name, but there is a small child in our life, a large child in our life, who is very sportsy and therefore sometimes breaks fingers and toes on people who are not as agile as him by accident. Because you're trying to play a sport with this kid and all of a sudden something's broken because he can throw so fast.
Yeah.
Love him to death, but it's just because it's that level of, like, his sports is so different from our sports.
Yeah.
So if you take, a sibyl body is stronger than an average human body. Like,
this child is also the first one to make me understand that I really am 39 now, and my video game skills have definitely gone downhill.
Well, you are old.
I know.
Anyway, back to the sibyl thing. So because she does have a sibyl body, which I don't know if we've covered this before, but a sibyl is...
Oh, I don't know if we have.
Is like... They are the equivalent of a super healthy, super athletic, fast healing human. Like,
right.
They're not like superhero level.
Yeah.
But it's like...
It's like the Bionic Woman.
No, not even.
Okay.
It's like, you know that person who pisses you off because they're always really athletic? And you're like, why? Like, you tried to run a 5K and you just did it? It took me 6 months to train up to that.
Yeah.
It's more like that thing where, like, just really good at everything.
Oh, man. Like Joshua Lattimore galloping up that mountainside.
Yes,
like
we went on a hike where a bunch of us got so dehydrated. I swear we should have been hospitalized. And one of our friends gallivanted up like a goat in sandals with one bottle of water.
Sandals. Not even, like, no flip-flops. It was flip-flops.
So, like, that kind of thing where, like... awkwardly good at things, like awkwardly good at the physical for a human,
right?
But she's nowhere near a werewolf strength,
right?
So if you take into account all of, like, her extended family is going to be werewolves. So she was playing with werewolf kids as a Sybil kid.
So she just learned how to reset her own bones from that?
Well,
they taught her to, probably.
Are you going to tell mom and dad every time you break something? Like, I broke another finger. Are you going to tell mom and dad?
They were probably much more careful with her, weren't they?
Well, no. It's like, is she going to get forbidden from playing with them if she keeps breaking her fingers?
Okay.
So since she heals faster, set your finger. Don't let mom and dad see it for a couple days. Boom, no broken finger.
So she really is. She's a genuine badass. Like, well, that's awesome. No, she really is. Also,
like, if you keep in mind, and like, I'm using cousins loosely, but if you keep in mind, like, these are her cousins that she's playing with. They don't want her to get taken away. They like her. She wants to play with them. So if they're like, do you want me to just, like, I'll set it? And then eventually she's like, stop setting it. I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Because she would break fingers and toes and small things because she's playing with people who are massively stronger than her.
Yeah, sure.
So things like that are just going to happen.
That's so funny because she, I would assume, is stronger than most humans, right?
I mean, if you like put her up against like some giant Olympian weight pressy thing, no.
Right. But unless somebody is like literally trained to
then like the average bear, like the average person, she's going to be stronger than them.
Okay. That's so
like,
cool.
No, she can't lift a car.
Right.
Yeah, you want her coming to move your stuff because she's going to be better than that 6'4" guy who keeps claiming that he was so good on the football team but has a bad back.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to be so much better than anyone else you have moving your stuff.
Okay.
But not Olympian.
Okay, cool. So I want to move on because there is one point I desperately want to hit, and I'm going to hit it from two different angles. So there is the one thing that you know that I'm going to ask you about, which is Reapers. So you said in the book, let me real quick find the exact line. Your friends, your family, anyone who might have been tainted by your offense, they'll die with you as the Reapers cleanse all trace of your transgression. Like singular. So it had been transgressions, and Megan said, oh, no, just one. And I went, that is a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. So like Reapers do not mess around.
No. Like if you do something bad enough for Reapers to come after you, there is no second chance.
That's messed up. Like, are they like a law force in the Aetherian community?
I don't want to talk too much about that now.
That's fine. But
it's one of those, like, at that point, if you screw up that badly, you can't afford a second chance.
Okay.
So it's part of the same, like, the Aetherians leaving the rest of the supernaturals and just being like, okay, we are protecting the people who are in this treaty.
Right.
The rest of you go screw yourself. It's kind of that same vicious self-preservation of, to protect the many, there is no second chance.
Okay. This world, like, on the surface, it's a little bit shadowy, but you go deep into it, and it's pretty dark.
The thing is, like, at that point, if you look at the fact that this treaty was made, like, with King Arthur,
right,
that long ago, they've been fighting to hide themselves since the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
And they have managed it. Like, you'd have to have some really brutal laws. Is that why it was burned? To get rid of all the books that listed them.
Yeah, that's why it was burned in this world.
Yes, the dragons burned the Library of Alexandria.
Do you think that there's any, like, I'm being like conspiracy theorist now, but I wonder if there's any fact to that somebody, that somebody burned that much knowledge in order to
hide something?
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, but there's also a lot of questions, and we should put a couple articles in the show notes. But there's actually a lot of question about whether it burned all at once or if the burning of the library is actually if it took place over like a series of invasions.
Oh, wow.
Or like how exactly it happened. But
I am just grateful to those Jewish and Arab scholars who kept duplicates.
I know.
Sorry. Thank you, Dame Judi Dench.
Thank the Phoenicians.
They invented them.
That's the Phoenician alphabet for anyone who doesn't go on that ride 20 times a year.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
Okay, so my last question for you, and then there was something you wanted to bring up, also involves the Reapers. This is something I didn't talk to you about before the chapter because this was it was just such a powerful thing. I think it's right around here. Oh, yeah. That's how I know it wasn't Reapers that came for my family. I'm still alive. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that we knew until this moment that she doesn't know who came after her family. Did we know that already? I don't think we did, and maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in comments.
I think that this is the most explicit implication.
Yeah. But it was such a simple, that's literally one line, Megan. Okay, so again, I'm geeking out over the fact that I'm fanboying over my wife's work.
Aww.
But that's how I know it wasn't Reapers that came from my family. Yeah, really good. That's how I know it wasn't Reapers that came from my family. I'm still alive. So it's like that is such a heavy sentence or paragraph, because that's 2 sentences, but that is so heavy. There's so much in those few words. It's incredible. That's all. I just was like, wow, you're a master.
Well,
that's
and
all.
I don't think I'm a master, but
I know you
did
don't
spend
think
about
you are.
15 minutes pouring over that line, because to me, that's kind of a big introduction to the world lore, because I think I'd used the word Reapers a couple times. I'd implied that there is a group with that, the Reapers versus Hunters and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But this is the first time that we've really established who Reapers are, how deadly they are.
Yes.
And I really needed it to be a reassertion of where her fears within the world lie.
Okay.
And her fears are not of Reapers coming after her.
Right.
Like, that's not a thing she's afraid of. She's afraid of this other.
So
she's like broadcasting to Violet, like, these Reapers are going to get you. My pack's going to get you. Like, all of this thing is going to happen. The pack didn't save her family. Being friends with Kate didn't save her family. It wasn't the Reapers who killed her family. So it's that, like, it wasn't this horror that got my family. It was something else. And she's trying to make Violet be afraid of them when she's not. So it's that above fear.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense?
No, it did make sense. And I'm now, you brought up Violet again, and it made me think, like, I am very weirdly sympathetic toward Violet, and I'm very interested to see where all of this rage is coming from. You've told me a little bit about what's going on with her, but I don't know much. I do know enough that I'm not going to share it here because that would be a spoiler. But I feel for her, and I think I would feel for her even if I didn't know what I know, because I'm like, boy, that's a lot of anger, even for a wolf. By the way, enjoy my intent in trying to act the times when the beast was coming out more in her voice. I was like, boy, I don't know if this is reading at all.
I thought it was good. It was good. We
you
just
so much.
finished listening to an audiobook that had a werewolf in it. It was a naughty book. It was very funny to listen to in the car. And there were like 2 different kinds of werewolf voices. And I enjoy a person trying to make a werewolf voice with no like sound audio assistance.
Yeah.
I love it. And I
Good.
think
I'm glad
it's
you love
even better when you do it.
Okay, so I believe that is almost all the time that we have, but you wanted to bring up where people can see the sketches that isn't just Substack.
Yes. Okay. So it's suddenly become more important than it was before, because we have reached the crest of Ellis Pack. So there are sketches for all of the chapters that we've put out. There is actually a sketch that goes with every chapter. And these are for the Kickstarter. So it's actually, you can see the project is not live, but it's like listed. The project is listed on Kickstarter right now, because I want to do, when we do the hardcover, all of these illustrations in the book. So every chapter has an illustration. There's some bigger illustrations that sort of break things up, the different thirds of the book. We forgot to talk about the thirds. We'll write that down.
Oh no,
for next
I
time.
actually was going to say that for those of you who, you know what, we will talk about it next time. We'll talk about. I'm sorry.
But so each of the chapters has its own piece of art already, and you can see them on Substack. Whenever we post the text of the chapter on Substack, we do use that image to go with the chapter, but if you're not a Substack person, I totally understand. So there are other places that you can see the images. I do have them all listed on Pinterest. I have created a Pinterest folder that has all of the art for it. I also share them on my Instagram and on my Facebook. Sometimes I hop on X and share it there as well. But there are these really cool pieces of art, including the symbol for the Gale Pack, and I really would love you all to see it, because I'm really proud of it. We worked with the artist really hard to figure out exactly what we wanted for it.
And the artist is great.
Yeah,
they have been
and
amazing.
I want people to see their work. So please go check it out on social media, Pinterest, Substack, check out the sketches. They're really cool. And I love it. I love having art to go with every chapter.
I do too.
I just love how much more immersive it makes the story feel.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, in case the podcast didn't make it immersive enough.
I know. Go big or go home.
Yeah. And I believe that is it for us. So is there anything else that you wanted to say? Oh, tell them where to like and subscribe.
Sure.
And
So if you are listening to
do a better
this
job than I
as a
do.
podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, comment.
Rate. Well, honestly, rate the podcast. That's something, sorry, I've heard other podcasters talk about that. I didn't think about that. Rating a podcast does give it more visibility. So if you are listening to this and you have a second, please hop over and give us a rating and be honest about it, but give us a rating.
Yeah, and you can also, if you want to read just the text of the chapter, you can do that on Substack or you can do that on Kindle Vella. You can hang out with me on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those good things. And yes, there is Pinterest as well for the images because I just think the sketches are
So cool.
and I want to share
They're
them.
beautiful.
But I think that is all the time that we have for today.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us for Chapter 9 of Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer.
Yep. And until next time, thank you for reading.